One of the most difficult things that I have in terms of a conversation with my customers is accountability, right? Accountability. And it's, sometimes funny and sometimes it's dramatic. And I'll tell you why. So these guys come to me, and gals, of course, and we have our conversations, typical conversations. They saw me on YouTube, or they read some of my articles, or they came across a reference. And the first thing they ask me is, when can I get funding? How quickly can we fix my credit? What are some of the things that I can do right now to increase my chances of like the amount of limit I can get? And those are amazing questions, and I get it. Everybody's super excited, super stoked. They want to get started with their credit, they want to fix it, and they want to go ahead and get all this type of funding, right? All this boatload of money. Now, it's not a bad idea, right? I'm encouraging you to go out there and explore the opportunities of funding, things that you can obtain and you can go out there and basically use for whatever your needs are. But let's get three things straight, okay? The first thing we're going to get straight is the fact that, first of all, you're coming and you're asking me to shortcut a process that's not designed by its nature and laws to be shortcutted. And when you're forcing a system to mend, right, and because it's such a powerful structure, right, like the credit system itself, the industries that offer credit, the institutions, the laws that are there, the backbone of that, when you bend it, especially when you try to stretch its time limit, and you're one individual, okay? But when you try to bend that, right, so what happens is the rebound effect is super strong. So what's going to happen is it's going to cripple you like no tomorrow. So don't speed up a process that's not meant to be sped up. Right? That's the rule number one. Because the rebound effect, like I said, is very critical. So when you do this type of thing and you're asking, not myself possibly, maybe other individuals you're having conversations with, but when you ask them, how quickly can I get funding? How fast can we fix my credit? How much can I get? I want to max out my opportunity for funding. All these type of conversations that you're actually disclosing or having with that individual or the professional that you're dealing with tells them one thing. If they're in it for the long game, of course, right? Because we talked about instant gratification. But if they're in it for the long game, it teaches them one thing, including myself. It's the fact that how quickly do you want to bury those dead bodies? How quickly do you want to get away from the creditors? How quickly do you want to hide yourself because you want to bury the bad debt that you have? You want to fix your credit to position yourself again of something that you think you are, but you're really not, right? Which is number two, don't deceive the banking system. So the first one we said is don't approach that in a way to mend the laws, and don't try to speed up a process that's not meant to be sped up. The second one is don't deceive the banking system. Doesn't matter, if you guys say there's loopholes, there's laws, there's all these type of things. Now, I'm not saying that there's not a ways around it, that you can't master and use those laws to work with you in your favor. Okay? Don't call it loopholes. Call it strategies. Call it in ways to create tactics, right, in a tactical alignment of strategies that can come together so you can make the law work in your favor. So one of the things you have to understand is if you're deceitful in that process, you have to approach it in a way that you as an individual, you know yourself better than anybody. If you're deceitful in that process, what's going to end up happening is you're going to get in trouble sooner or later. It's going to catch up to you, right? And I talked about the 4 ways to really build the long-term wealth, and one of them was we talked about a loop, the infinite loop, right? Which is if you want to get out of that loop in terms of personal credit, you have to establish means and measures that's going to go outside of those regular credit factors. And that includes income, assets, and the wealth. So if you're in that infinite loop, eventually what's going to end up happening is you're going to stack up a lot of debt, right? You're going to stack up a lot of debt. You won't have the funds to pay them down. Unless you're in a very unique income situation, which now you can cross over that boundary and the Rubicon into the income level, so your infinite loop stops. But revolving debt itself, my friends, is a very dangerous place to be. And because of the fact that, it doesn't have a structure that you can work with, that for a fact, oh, this is what I owe, here's the timelines, and here's how quickly I can pay it down without any prepayment penalties. But if you're approaching it in a very deceitful way and you're trying to engineer a file and you're saying as much as I can get, how quickly can I fix this? How much max can I borrow? What's the next steps? Now, I understand your enthusiasm for borrowing. I understand your enthusiasm for taking advantage of what was given to you. But end result is It's going to hurt if it's not done right. So the first step, don't try to bend the system to speed it up if it's not meant to be sped up. Second, don't try to be deceitful. And third, have accountability. Right? Is accountability really that critical and important? Of course. Of course it is. Right? So let's imagine that, and I'm not sure if this is your scenario, but let's imagine that you have family that you have to take care of, right? And you have to help them in a very different ways. Like you have to sustain them, you have to nurture them, you have to take care of them, you have to look out for them in terms of the direction your family is going, to give them a better lifestyle, to create an opportunity and an environment that they can grow up in and be respectful, they can actually, learn to be responsible themselves. And the education starts at home. It's the household, right? The morale, the conclusion of education, what's brought out there is in the household. Now, you don't want your child to go out there being a part of an environment where it's no responsibility, no accountability, a free-for-all, and they're learning that outside. They're spending most of their days outside, right, in the schooling system and all these type of things. If you want to create that environment for them so they can actually feel conflicted about some of these things that they're saying doesn't make sense because you teach them otherwise and you show them by example, you show them, look, we're here to follow the rules and regulations, but we can make it work for us. We can use the tactics and strategies to make the law in our favor. So we can engineer a foul because we know what we need to do. We have a game plan. So we don't have to be deceitful, but at the same time take advantage of what's offered so that we can get the maximum possible because we want to get into an opportunity where we're going to build a lot of wealth together. That's a different approach. Come with a game plan, right? And like I said, third, have accountability, because accountability really helps you to structure a system internally with yourself as a dialogue. You may be conflicted. You may have those type of instant gratification type of pulses once in a while that you want to get advantage of that. You want to get the maximum funding. You want to fix your credit ASAP. But that pulse of instant gratification has a way of giving you something in a very deceitful way that you don't feel the pain that comes after the storm, right? What's going to happen if you're not really responsible? What's going to happen if nothing has changed in terms of habits? It's going to be that infinite loop. It's going to be a very, very painful process. And then, of course, like I said, you have to lead by example. If you have family, you want to build that wealth, you have to give them the opportunity and the second chance to feel that they can take you as your example and be learning from you instant education that starts at home in the household, so that when they go out there, they themselves can create an environment for themselves. They can filter out the negatives. They can filter out some of the information that's not necessary for them in their lifestyle, to improve their lifestyle, to add value in their lives, all these type of things. So once again, my friends, when you start and you approach the credit repair journey, it's not a credit repair journey. It's a credit enhancement and wealth building journey. That's the way you got to look at it. You got to dream bigger and build wealth, right? That's the motto. So when you have to do these type of things, approach credit enhancement to fix and restore your credit, to create a wealth standard for yourself that you can actually use that as a cornerstone to build on, to get out of the infinite loop into the income opportunities, the asset opportunities, and the wealth opportunities, and learn to be accountable to yourself and your family. If you don't have a family right now and you're still young, then be accountable to yourself. Lead by example. Be the better version of you 5 to 10 years from now. Imagine that individual looking at you because of the way you're leading your life, because of the ways that you're doing things. Enhanced, 5 to 10 times, because it's just going to get a boatload worse if you're not changing certain circumstances or conditions, right? Imagine that bad version of you looking down at you and saying, hey, don't worry about it. We're going to be okay. But he's almost broke as hell, or she's broke as hell, right? Where on the other side, you look at a very wealthy version of you with the right choices, decisions, the education, the concepts, and the idea of building wealth. They're dressed apart. They speak better. They have better financial vernacular in terms of conversations. Their environment is much better. Their children are happy in a home. They're settled in and they're building assets. They're building fortunes. And they're not trying to, continue that infinite loop cycle like this loser here, right? So you have to think about that, right? The best way to go from where you are to where you want to be is self-image. You have to wake up with the better version of you all the time. Now, when you approach credit enhancement, that has to be in mind first. And if you don't know what you need to do, if you need direction, then don't be shy. Ask for help. Ask the questions that you guys need. Even below this video, ask. The best thing you can do for yourself is learn, is to take the time to gain the knowledge that you need to enhance your life and your credit so that you can build the wealth that you and your family deserve. So that is why accountability is one of those important things that you cannot ignore. Okay? You definitely cannot ignore. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you like what I said, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. I don't mind, but do share your feedback. What are some of the things that you agree or disagree with me so that I can make my videos more enhanced, more educational for you, and add the value that you need in your life. At the end of the day, I'm trying to be as much as helpful as I can to get you started in your credit journey the right way and not give you some deceitful way of engaging me with false promises that's not going to lead you down a path where you're going to appreciate it down the road, right? And by the way, guys, the Ultimate Personal Credit Mastery course is ready right below this video. Enroll if you want to get started. We have a discounted pricing option, so that'll be cool for now. And once again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, it's your first time, subscribe, turn that bell icon on so every time there's a new video like this, you'll be notified. With that said and done, my friends, this is Ali Taraftar, your guide and mentor. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.